why do you need job of a gymnastic coach if you're making definitely more than 100K as the senior key automation engineer in Los Angeles?
I didn't know how internet works.
You must be a smart guy then.
We should try to pass an IQ test. People leave the company for two reasons. Some people go to the gym, some people drink.
Good evening, Georgii.
Hey, sir.
Thank you for joining us. And finally, we're going to hear the success story of the world-class gymnast becoming a QA engineer in Los Angeles. The guy who did not believe in himself at the beginning, but now he's a senior QA automation engineer that is driving Tesla, that living in Los Angeles, that living a life. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, not as a QA engineer, but as the Georgii who was born not in the US, but I believe in Armenia, right?
Yeah, that's right. As you said, I was born in Armenia. When I was 2, my family moved to Ukraine. I lived there until 24 years old. So pretty much all my childhood and all my life, I lived in Ukraine. What did I do in Ukraine? Pretty much I did gymnastics the entire time. When I was 5, I was super energetic. I remember myself jumping around all the time and doing crazy stuff on the street, doing some handstands, rolling around and things like this. And one day my dad was talking to me and he's like, do you want to try doing gymnastics? I have a guy who works as a coach in the gymnastics club and I basically can sign you up for the tryout. And I'm like, gymnastics? What's that? Sounds fun. And he said, yeah, there's they have trampoline and things like this, and you can just jump around and do the same thing, not on the couch. And I'm like, sure, yeah, let's try it out. That's how my journey started in gymnastics. So I've been doing gymnastics for pretty much entire my life. And I ended up being a member of the national team of Ukraine, competed in a bunch of competitions, national, international, European World Championship, and things like this. And then my career is kind of started going the other direction that I expected due to my injuries. So I decided to try something new and basically just move somewhere outside of Ukraine. So since I've competed in a different international competitions, I traveled a lot during this time. I visited a bunch of European countries. I also was in America in 2013, I believe. I can feel this opportunity when I was here, back in the days. I came back to Ukraine. Since then, I dreamed to move to US and basically try myself here. Eventually it happened. I moved to US in 2016 and I came here as a tourist. Since I had a good gymnastics background, I've applied for O1 visa and I basically started working as a coach. That's the only thing I was able to do. And that's the only thing I knew.
What's the O1 visa?
Yeah, O1 visa is extraordinary visa that you can get if you have some, I guess, talents. In my case, in sports, I was able to prove it to US. Started 2016, I was working as a coach, and I'm currently working as a coach part-time. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about it later. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So you moved to US with the O1 visa. Who can get that O1 visa? What level of talent do you have to have in order to get? Because a lot of people are watching us not from the US and they're interested. How can I move to US and then look for the job in the United States?
It's a good question. I'm not exactly sure what's the criteria, but from the American people logic, it would be like this. If you have some talents and you will be useful to America, they will give you this visa if you stand among other people. It's considered to be extraordinary. So for example, in my case, with my background, I've been doing gymnastics all my life and I was applying as a coach. So I had a lot of experience. I had a lot of knowledge. And at that time, me and my friend, who was helping me with the visa, who was an owner of the gym, would try to apply and find find people for the same position in America, which we couldn't able to. So that's how you stand among other people and say, this as me, like this Georgii guy from Ukraine. He has more experience, he has more knowledge. He's like gonna be a good fit to my like role. I don't know, like you can apply for extraordinary visa being a sportsman, I believe, if you like talented in arts, in science, I think musicians and things like this.
What if you're talented in QA? Can you get an O1 visa?
Oh, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think so. I didn't see this criteria. I wasn't a QA back in the day, so.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. So when you had your O1 visa, could you work as the QA engineer while you're working in the gym?
In my specific case, I cannot, because I was applying for my extraordinary visa through employer, but there is like two basically branches. Like I took this branch because I've talked to the lawyers and like to the friends who suggested me like to. So they basically told me this is the easiest and like quickest way for me to get this visa. Yeah, I know some other people can apply for extraordinary visa, and it's not even extraordinary visa. I think you can apply like for the green card, extraordinary green card right away, and not obtain visa. So one of my friend who also a gymnast, my team member, he came to US and applied from touristic visa, which is B1 to green card extraordinary case, I think. And he achieved it like, I think in 2 years. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
For me, it was like, yeah, you're working as a coach and not like looking around for now.
Great. All right. Why did you decide to become a QA engineer if you have been working as the gymnastic coach?
I think being a gymnastics coach is great. Like it's still my passion. This is what I still do. But I guess it's like money question, like everything else in our life, right? It's all about money, unfortunately. And being a gymnastics coach, there is nothing wrong about it. It just doesn't pay bills much. So I try to find like some extra income. And then eventually I've met you. This is also like a funny story. We've met doing gymnastics, like trained together. And then after you decided to open a course, that's how my QA journey started.
That's awesome. And now you're working as the senior QA automation engineer, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. I've been in the field for 3.5 years already. Yeah, and working as a senior QA. Yeah. Looking forward for my career path.
That's amazing. Cool. So you became a QA automation engineer or a QA engineer. What was your first job?
I think it was QA automation engineer. Yeah.
So you started as the QA automation engineer. Nice. That's pretty powerful, I could say, because you didn't start as the QA engineer, as the manual QA. You started coding right away. As soon as you started your career, you were already coding, right?
Yeah. I was lucky back in the days. Thank you. Thanks to you. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks to people. I would say the guy who was my classmate on the course, Anton. Yeah, it's actually was really good that we both kind of like compete with each other and achieved our goals eventually.
That's amazing. I'm going to attach video of Anton right there. And also you can find a link below this video. That's the guy who works for Canoo, the electric car company in Los Angeles, which is amazing. And you said you guys both were competing during the education, right? Can you describe that healthy competition? Because I feel like the fact that you're a gymnast and Anton, he's also doing sports all his life, did help a lot to change your career.
Yeah, I would say yes. And it's like, it keep pushing me like every day. I think like this behavior and systematic discipline of like achieving something every day. Yeah, that basically pushes you like throughout your life, and then anything you do, it's like, yeah, you're competing with other people, right? So when we started the course, let me go back a little bit. So when I decided like to eventually to finally take a course, I didn't know much about like IT industry at all. I didn't know like how internet works and like how application built and stuff like this. to be honest. And when you introduced me to the QA role, I wasn't like even sure what's QA, what that position will do like for the company. So yeah, basically, I think I was behind a lot of people who already was in America or like closer to IT because I was in sports like entire life and I didn't know much, as I said. So I was behind Antonsky and I was like always mad inside myself, like man, why he always like knows more than me? Why? Like we started course at the same time, but like he already writing code better, like he knows more stuff about key and like it was driving me a lot and I was like studying at home a lot as well. So this healthy competition basically helped me a lot to achieve it eventually and got the job.
So you like challenges, huh? It was a challenge for you.
It was a challenge for sure. With my English, first of all, plus it's a new industry, it's a new role, it's like everything new. It was like a big challenge. And then on the middle of that, I believe I've talked to you and I said like, man, I think I gotta like step away from it and I'm not gonna like complete it. And then after conversation with you, you're like, man, just like try to relax, just take a week off, think about it again, and then call me after. And at that time, I think it was also like a push to me. I've met my current wife. I knew that being a coach and making that much money to take care of like the both of us and then like family in the future, it couldn't be possible. So it was the right time like to kick my butt, from you and from like my future wife and saying, no, you should continue this. And then like, if it's not going to work out, then like we'll find something else.
That's interesting because in every single group, we have a guy like you who's like, okay, Sergey, I'm sorry, but I'm going to give up. This is not for me. Unfortunately, I cannot do it. And I try to motivate every single person. I try to jump on the calls, help them out, kind of boost their motivation because you can make it. Even though you're about to give up, that means that you have a lot of things coming in your head. You have a lot of knowledge and your knowledge cannot accept everything right away, but it doesn't have to. Well, of course, that goes for 5 months. It's going to take a while, but you will get to it. And same story happened to you. You almost gave up, but you did get through it and you did get a first job. And now you're driving Tesla Model Y. You're living in Los Angeles in Agoura Hills, which is a pretty damn amazing district to live in.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Back in the days, I thought I don't know much even after completing the course, like how I'm gonna like applying for the job if I studied for 5 months and I need to basically say in my resume that, I have an experience, because that's the part of the game. Like you need to get the job with the experience. Companies hiring those kind of people. And I think at the end of the course, a lot of people are beating themselves and trying to stop them from applying and keep learning. It's a good thing, but I would say it's enough knowledge to start your career in QA role. That's for sure. Yeah. I think that my suggestion to the people who's going to watch it, it's enough information to start your position. Don't think that, you're not ready. Just keep going, keep applying, and eventually you'll get the job. Me, guy, as a gymnast, not knowing how internet works and things like this, believe me, I'm working for 3.5 years, and I would say successfully working as of now. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Georgie. Do you think that everyone have to have a wife that will kick their ass to continue education, or?
It's going to be helpful. That's for sure. Yeah. It's motivation. Yeah. It's definitely
so guys, make sure you have a wife who will kick your ass if you will decide to give up, or just give me a call if you are about to give up.
I think if I wouldn't have a wife, I would call you for sure.
We're in Los Angeles. Everything's possible. What was your education? Because you said you did not know how the internet works, you said you've been doing gymnastics. And as far as I know, those people who are into sports on that level, they don't study much. Like sport is their entire life. What was your case like?
Yeah, that's correct. If you want to achieve the highest level of like sport, right? Basically, Olympic Games. That's the top goal for every like sportsman, for the every athlete. So I didn't go to school much, starting like grade 5. So, and before grade 5, I was like, I studied hard, I did gymnastics, but I also like school was a part of my life. And yeah, I had really great grades. I was like, yeah, doing really good job there. But then when like I was on a spot where I need to choose whether I do gymnastics and I'm doing school, I choose gymnastics. And then like in our countries, in Ukraine, if you do sport, school kind of goes on the side, and like you go to the special school where like they're not giving you that much like homework, right? They don't give you like much assignment to do. You're just like, okay, going towards like Olympic gold path, right? So then I've completed like 11 years of school in Ukraine. I went to the college. I did physical education. Of course, I did physical education because like I was doing gymnastics, so there wasn't much choice. Yeah. So I completed like physical education, and then I was doing like gymnastics pretty much like the entire time. But luckily, since like I really liked like to read books and think like this on the side between gymnastics trainings, I was reading books a lot, and I think that's at least helped me to train my brain during that time.
So you must be a smart guy then.
It depends. I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said we should try like to pass an IQ test. Let's see what we're gonna get.
That's cool. You said that you run 2 jobs simultaneously, right?
Yeah. Basically, QA job is my full-time job, and I'm working a lot. Yeah, like 8 to 10 hours a day. Plus, I do still like coach as a gym. I still work as a coach, and I coach gymnastics team in one club in Agora Hills. So this is my job. Yeah. And as I do go to the gym, I still hang out with my wife. I go to the beach. So it's not like I'm working the entire time, but you will have time like to do some other things.
So you can do 2 jobs. You can run 2 jobs while you are working as the QA automation engineer, senior QA automation engineer, by the way.
Yeah.
Why do you need job of a gymnastic coach if you're making definitely more than 100K as the senior QA automation engineer in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I think it's my passion. Like since I've been doing this for entire my life, and I have a lot of knowledge in gymnastics, and I completed like physical education college, so I know some things about gymnastics that I would like to share to the younger generation. So I think it's just my passion. I love to go to the gym, help kids, train them, explain them how the things are working, and yeah, I feel like it's just give me like extra motivation and extra relief after my full day of being a QA engineer. Take a like couple hours off, help kids, right? Work with the kids, and then come back and do some other things. Yeah. So it's like work-life balance, right? You can't work like QA entire time, right? You will do something else. Like some people go to the gym, work out. Some people go to the beach. Some people run their businesses. Some people, I don't know, drink alcohol. It's like, yeah, it's what you choose. I feel like, yeah, for me, it's a good work-life balance. I sit entire day in front of the desk, then I stand up and go to the gym, like work out myself and help kids as well to learn something new.
But how about, as you said, how about sitting on the chair all day as the world level gymnast that can sit on a chair for a while?
Good that I have like standing desk that I can raise it.
Okay, so you can stand, but still a lot of people are asking me, is it a good job? Or is it not boring? Because am I not going to be sitting in the chair all day and watching the computer? How's it for you?
Yeah, it was a big question for me. I remember I've talked to you right before we started a course, and I said like, man, I think I wouldn't be able like to sit on my butt like the entire day. And I was wrong, I would say, because when you start like working on something interesting, right? Or like some challenges, because I love challenges, right? Like you just entirely deep into this and time flies. Like you can just like started working, it's like 9 a.m. And then like in 3 hours, you realize, oh, it's a lunchtime. You've been working coding and for 3 hours and you didn't even like think that, oh, 3 hours passed. It's the amount of concentration, desire to learn, to kind of like pass this challenge. And yeah, I think time will go by really quick.
Is QA not a boring job?
Manual QA is a little boring, I would say. Automation is fun.
Great. Do you work in the office or remotely?
I work remotely, yeah. I've hired as a remote employee and I've been working remotely for 3 years, which is super great. It gives me so much flexibility. That's how I can like do 2 jobs actually. Because if I would be working in the office, and my office is like 1 hour away from my place where I live, so in this case, yeah, it would be hard like to kind of like do 2 jobs simultaneously. But so far, so good. Yeah, hopefully it will be the same way.
You ever worked in office?
I did, yeah, for a little bit. This is this is a funny story actually. So I've started working at company called Audit Board. In 2 years, at that time, I felt that I'm kind of stuck and I stopped like growing as much. And I was like looking around like to find another company, something like interested with a sexier product, because the current company is doing auditing. It's not that sexy as like building machines or like building cars or like building robots, right? So basically I found the company, it's called Coco Delivery. They're building cute robots that can deliver some, I don't know, packages, some food within 3 miles, right? They gave me an offer. I agreed. I left Audit Board. I worked for the company for 3 months. And since it was a startup, early stage of startup, they kind of started running out of money. And yeah, they're like hire a bunch of people. And then I remember myself like the day when they not fired, yeah, like laid off. Let's say they didn't fire us, they laid us off. I was like, okay, what did I do wrong? But since I had a really good relationships in my current company, which is Audit Board, I reached out like back to my QA director and I said, look, this is what happened, and just want to see where you're at, guys. And at that time, they had a big changes in the company, in technology and things like this. So I was interested like to come back, and yeah, I'm pretty happy right now. So I came back to Audit Board, and yeah, we're doing great things here.
That's awesome. Did that help you to get a raise, by the way?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, people leave the company for 2 reasons, right? Like one reason is like they get bored, they're not learning, they're kind of stuck, they're doing repetitive work. And reason number 2 is money. Unfortunately, as I said, yeah, money is like motivator. So when you switch the company, you usually get the raise, or like you're looking for the higher salary, right?
Yeah. It's like a joke that you see on Instagram or YouTube where the Indian guy gets asked question, why do you want to work for us? He's like, I want to work for money.
Yeah. No, I think like a lot of people on LinkedIn, I can see it like right now, they're switching jobs like every year. And I'm like, was watching the guy, and once he's been asked like, why do you switch companies that often? And he's like, yeah, I just want to make more money. That's it. That's as simple as that. Sense. Yeah.
And you just work as the good employee and get a raise? Why do people change jobs that often?
Inside the company, when let's say you got an offer for 100K, right? That's the average salary for the first employee, right? For the first time. You can get the raise, like really good raise, if you get a promotion, right? For example, you've been hired as a QA automation engineer, and then in 2 years, your title is changing to senior position. Then they look at the average like salary on the market, how much senior people are making. Then they give you a good raise, for example, 20%, right? Then you can make 120, 130, something like this. But if your title is not changing, they usually increase like 2 to 3% on a yearly basis. Yeah. So it's not that much. And after a year, when you've been working in a company and you learned a lot, right? You're like, oh, I think I deserve more money. And when you start like talking to the QA manager or like QA director, you're like, I want to make more money. I'm like, I've learned a lot of things. I can do more things. But within the company, it's harder to do because like, yeah, either you switch the title and you get a promotion, or like otherwise you get only like 2% increase of your salary. So that's why like people are jumping like from place to place.
Yeah, because you can get much higher salary from the beginning when you get the job.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you're now working as the senior key automation engineer, and you've been working not for too long. And some people might say, "Oh, how can the guy become a senior key automation engineer if he has only been working in the field for 3 years and something?" Because I even remember after an interview with Jahan, the QA manager, that link to whose video I'm going to attach right here, after his interview with us, his company got a call from someone. I guess it was a person from the YouTube, one of our watchers. His company got a call from someone and they asked, hey, is he really working as the QA lead or manager for this company? Because someone didn't believe and they called the company. I'm totally okay with that, because I'm not lying. I'm just telling the truth. I'm bringing the people who are actually my students who did become successful. But it's kind of interesting that people think that we're a fraud for some reason. I mean, some people, it's like one of probably hundreds, thousands, or millions who are watching our videos. But still, to make the call to the company and ask, is this guy really working for them?
I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, I feel like you're... Yeah, sorry. Your videos, I think, like pretty like trustworthy. Yeah, that's the word, I think. And I don't know, like they can simply check our LinkedIn profiles, and people don't say that they work for the big companies for 2 or 3 years. Usually it should be it. Yeah. You can just like put the PlayStation or like Amazon that you've been working there for 3 years, right? And lie about it. It's impossible.
Yep. Great. So what is the difference for you to be a junior QA automation engineer and a senior QA automation engineer? Since you've been there for 3 years and a half, you should still remember the both feelings.
Oh, that's a tough question now, right?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I think being a junior engineer or like the first year of QA automation engineer is you are asking questions, you are expecting to get answers on them, and you're kind of, if I can say newbie, you can feel yourself that you don't know much, and you should ask very simple questions and double check a lot of times, right? Because you might do something wrong. As a senior QA, you are a person who is answering those questions. So you're basically teaching like juniors, right? You've got more experience, you know how the things are working, how to build the application. So you've got more experience, you've got more knowledge, and you person who our juniors usually go to, right? So you're teaching them like how things should work this way, how like to, I don't know, let's say about automation, right? How like framework needs to be built, like which way and things like this, right? So I think it's amount of knowledge and amount of responsibility, because like as a junior, no one expects you much from you. You just do your job, you do this great, then yeah, you're gonna get like kind of like pushed and give more like harder stuff, but no one expect much. As a senior QA, people are expecting you to do like hard things and like building hard things.
Interesting. So are you the person who's answering those questions of your teammates now?
I'm trying to, yeah. Most of the questions I can answer. If I'm not sure, I usually don't hesitate, and I'm like either Google it really quick to answer this question, based on my knowledge. If I can Google and find like something similar, then like it clicks in my head and I can answer. Or in other cases, I'll just go like really quick. I'll just transfer this person to QA manager just to make sure like we're doing it right.
Yeah, and I can definitely relate your answer because I remember when I felt that I'm a senior QA engineer is when a lot of people start asking me questions. Hey, Sergey, why is it not working? Hey, Sergey, what can I do here? Hey, Sergey, how can we fix it? And I'm like, okay, now I feel like I'm a senior QA automation engineer.
Yeah, I think like it's in the Spider-Man. They're saying with the power comes responsibility or something like this.
It's so funny because I remember in one of I think in Verizon when I was working as the QA automation engineer for the first time in my life, I did ask for access to Jenkins to make changes in the CI/CD process of our company. And when the guy was giving me access, he was like, look at me like, well, but you should know that with the power there comes responsibility or something like that, as he said. Probably was a phrase from Spider-Man.
Yeah. That's from the Spider-Man for sure.
That's interesting. But how did you become a senior QA automation engineer within 3 years?
Just kicking your ass a lot. Yeah. Learning a lot of work, a lot of questions. Don't hesitate to ask questions because that's how you learn, honestly. I'm still asking questions, not as silly as before, but I'm still do ask questions. I ask questions, every day because that's how you learn. I think just a lot of work and desire to grow in your career.
They're the same things that apply to the cases when you are getting your first job, when you are learning QA. Because if you don't have desire, you will give up. Like you said, I would say 10 to 20% of people, they give up halfway or not even halfway because they don't have as much desire, or they don't have motivation, or they don't have a wife that will kick their ass. Awesome. Now, can you describe what does the work day look like of a QA automation engineer?
Since I'm working as a senior QA automation engineer, I have a lot of meetings in the morning. So usually I start my day around like 8:30 a.m. I just check emails, things like this, what came my way, because we have a lot of people outside of the country, like who works. I think we have a branch in England, which is like completely different time zone. So in the morning, I usually like for the first 30 minutes while I drink coffee, I check my emails, check Slack, and like any notification I receive like during the night. And then 9 a.m., that's my meeting like time starts. So between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., I have meetings. Like here and there, like working with my pod, which is like developers, engineers, designers, and things like this, what like feature we're building and stuff like that. Then I have a meeting with QA team. I think that's pretty much it. Like sometimes there's meeting with DevOps, sometimes there's meeting with like some lunch and learns, but mostly like it's a block between 9 to 11. And then from 11 a.m. until like 6 p.m., there's like coding time, testing time. I try to structure it that way that I'm not like jumping from task to task too much. And I kind of like hate multitasking. It's really hard, especially when you work on like some hard projects. Like recently I was trying to do some performance testing, within a company. So we basically just POC, just to decide like what tool to use, what tool is going to be useful for our company and things like that. So when people are asking me questions or like, can you help me with this, with that, while I was doing this POC, it was hard. So I'm trying like to block my time like with reviewing things like coding and then maybe like testing and then that's my day look like.
Interesting. Thank you. Okay, let me ask you a couple more questions before I let you go. So you quickly became a senior QA automation engineer. Now you know a lot. You're junior, you're mid-level, you're senior. what would you change if you would start again? If you would get to your school and it is your first day, what would you change? Or actually, would you even go to school? What's your idea of quickly becoming a QA automation engineer based on all the experience that you have?
Very good question. Let's say I decided to become a QA engineer, right? I would probably do as much research as possible to find out about the job. Because as I mentioned earlier, I didn't know what's QA job is like. I didn't know at all. So I would try like to make a research on my own as much as I can, just to get some kind of like inputs like on how the things works, how application builds, like what are the teams, what developer are doing, designers and things like this. So basically just like small things that at least give me like understanding what's my like future role will look like, right? That's going to be step number one. Step number two, probably we'll find the course, right? In this case, I will talk to you because like, yeah, I went with you. I'll talk to you and like double check what kind of like tools we're going to be using. We'll do my own research like on what is popular during this market time, right? Like what tools are the most like common and things like this, right? And then let's say I've completed a course and started a job already. I would probably be more proactive, I think, because I was like, when I started the job, I was still feeling myself that, oh, I'm a newbie. I should like be quiet and kind of, learn on my own. I would rather be proactive and like get help like much quicker, and then I can grow like much quicker. I would say like in 3 years become a senior QA. It's like not bad. I would say it's pretty good, but it could be even much faster if I would be more proactive.
Exactly. And I do remember you asking, hey, how can I grow faster? What can I do? So you're on the right track. And I definitely agree that asking questions will not only differentiate you at the job, it also differentiate you during the course. Because everyone who will ever sign up for any course in the world, make sure that you ask questions if you don't understand. Don't assume. One of the most common mistakes for people who fail interviews is they didn't completely understand a question and they start answering it. That's wrong, because if I ask you a question about JavaScript, if you are answering the question about a TypeScript, I'm like, this person cannot even understand me. How are we going to work together? That's impossible. Fail.
I did that myself as well. I did that. So don't do this. Learn like mistakes from someone else.
From our videos.
Yeah.
Awesome. And the last one. What do you recommend to people who are hesitating, people who think that they cannot do it, or they cannot sit in one place for too long and the IT job is not for them?
You should try it. Like you need to try it, feel it yourself, and then I think in 99% you could be wrong. So,
oh, by the way, I've just realized that I have a free trial now on our site. So if you guys want to see what the job actually is, what are you going to do, and some of the basics of the QA, I'm going to add 2 QR codes right here and right there for the manual QA and the QA automation, so people would know what it actually is before they even start their educations. They wouldn't have to pay for it.
I was pointing towards automation.
I know, because you like automation. And myself, I think that manual QA is cool because there will always be need for manual QA still, but QA automation is much more in demand. And now there are so many boot camps and there is a recession. So amount of jobs is much smaller than we used to have, but amount of students is much higher than we used to have. So those lines are crossing right now, just like this, I would say. So it is much easier to find a job as the QA automation engineer versus the manual QA engineer. And as you said, it is more fun. As the manual QA, I kind of enjoyed it because I started making more money. That was my main motivation. But when I started doing QA automation, I was like, oh, Jesus, that's what I need. That's what I was waiting for. That's what I was looking for. Because as you said, it's a challenge. And me, as the guy who did sports throughout my life as well, and probably not only because of sports, I just like challenges. And when my manager came to me and said, hey, I cannot solve this problem. Can you research it? And then when I solved it within a day, I was like, that feels pleasant.
Yeah, no, I agree. Automation is the job that will have some future. Just give an example about our company. We have an outsourced team, which is doing manual work for us. And from my recent conversation with my QA director, I was told that the ratio usually for one QA, 3 or 4 developers, right? That's like average on the market. Our goals in next like couple of years is like to have 8-9 developers per one QA. So we're trying like to automate as much things as possible that we don't need like manual work as much. Of course, it's going to be some manual work always, but try to get rid of as much as possible that we can cover that much volume from our engineers. Yeah. So automation is future. That's for sure.
Let's go, QA automation. By the way, we're starting the next QA automation cohort in about 2 weeks. I'm going to leave a link right below this video. Awesome, Georgii. Thank you for sharing your very inspirational story of world-class gymnast who never did much of the computers, I could say, who never studied computers, but played Counter-Strike 1.6 only. Becoming a world-class senior QA automation engineer.
Yeah, thank you, Sergey. Thanks for interview and good luck, guys. Hope you'll achieve what you want.
Peace.